We'll name Beast here, so we can cast this beast of a monster right here. Arboreal Grazer. OP. The Master at turn 1 ramping. Blockers for days. Grazer's here to devour your soul. That's what Grazer does, in case you were wondering. So it's a very powerful creature. Hello and welcome everybody. We are here again with Karn, the great creator. This is match 4 that we're about to play here, trying to keep up our winning streak as we are currently 2-1. So hopefully we can manage to get another win this round, and that would be fantastic. But regardless, you will see the results of this match anyways, as we're here for the learning and the experience, and not necessarily for the wins. And with that said, let's jump straight into the match. See a user over here by the name of Freudian Slip with 3 undefeated trophies. It's a very nice username, I must say. Alright, let's jump right on in here. On the play. Love it, love it. Couldn't summon the energy, could I? Couldn't get what we wanted. And on top of it, we have to mulligan our 7 land hand. Oof. This hand's not fantastic, but maybe our deck will supply us with an untapped green source off the top, and then we'll be fine. And I'm going to keep hoping that that is the occurrence. We could put back the Summoner's Pact. In fact, that's what I was about to do. But there's also some argument to putting away the Explorer here so that we can pack for a Dryad or something. I don't know, though. I'm going to trust the Explorer tech. And hopefully we'll get that untapped green source. And if we don't, then we'll figure out what we do from there. It's going to be a turn 3 Grazer or Explorer kind of hand otherwise. And we see Cavernon Spirit. Okay. It's interesting. So probably playing against blue-white spirits or perhaps Bant spirits. I haven't seen Bant in a while. And of course we get that basic force off the top like we rightfully deserved after mulliganing an all lands hand. Come on. We'll pick up this forest, of course. And now we get to explore on turn 2, as it was meant to be. They said, my worst nemesis, Arboreal Grazer. My opponent is a person of culture over here. I told them, yes, he's OP. Little Grazer boy over here. And we do see the green splash from our opponent. That's quite intriguing. Getting clocked for 2. Oh, they didn't even shock in the Temple Garden. Reprehensible. They said, dang, can't get through. Dryad is a fantastic pickup also. Don't want to just get our Explorer double Wandered. I mean, honestly, that wouldn't really be that bad for us, but, I mean, you can't tell me not to slam a Dryad here. You just can't do it. Now we get to pick up the Forest. If our opponent doesn't Skyclave away our Dryad, then an untapped land off the top lets us get this Titan into play. And, you know, Titan leads to Valakut triggers, and one thing leads to another. And we end up just winning the game. That would be nice. But this is all in theory, as our opponent is surely about to play Skyclave Apparition and ruin that plan. But at least then we can play Explorer without fear of our opponent countering it with the Wanderers, as if they were going to do that in the first place. Definitely yielding through this turn. Snapping off this block here. If they have 2 Flash Spirits, I didn't think so. 2 OP. And our opponent is passing it back. We cannot, sadly, just slam a Titan here. Spirit counters instant and sorcery spells, so this one does not interact with Karn whatsoever. So that means that Karn could be quite fantastic here. Our opponent is probably holding up Spell Queller, I would have to assume. I think that's the only reason they wouldn't play anything during our turn, so we could start by attacking with Dryad, because I don't think he can do any meaningful blocks here, so I'm going to go ahead and swing with the Dryad. Alright. The question is, do we play out our Telari West? I think that we do. I think we play T-West and Forest and slam this Karn as it was meant to be. Karn into play, minus to get explosives, probably. They do Spell Queller it. Okay. Well, you know, nothing works but a try, so we'll just play a Titan this upcoming turn and be A-okay. No Collected Company, please. We still might even be able to beat Collected Company if they don't hit 2 Drogskol Captains. And even if they hit 2 Drogskol Captains, we might still have lethal on them. We'd have to see for sure on that one. If we top deck and untap land, we can haste our Titan. We'll block a Wanderer here. No need to play into a Flash Lord type effect here and get our Grazer killed by Queller. So, not playing into that. We have a land, but it's not an untapped land. But this one actually does let us haste our Titan if we get Hanweir and a Crumbling Vestige. But then we play into Path to Exile, which we might be playing into anyways, trying to rely on Dryad triggers here. But, I mean, we can't not play Titan. We could also get double Valakut. Or we could get a single Valakut and a Radiant Fountain, possibly. Let's go look at our lands real quick. So, Field Dead would be good, but I don't believe we're triggering Field on this board state. We could get Valakut and a fetch land. That wouldn't be the worst. We don't really have a whole lot of lands to consider here. We could Vesuva to copy their Moorland Haunt. That seems pretty useless. If they have the path, forcing them to use it on the Dryad is probably a good plan. So, and if not, then we can use the Growth Chamber with Tolaria West to be able to play a Titan this upcoming turn after transmuting for a Summoner's Pact. Not all in the same turn necessarily, but we definitely got to play this Titan out before playing a land, as we might otherwise be able to get some Valakut triggers. So, Collected Company, I'm sure. Anything but double Drogskol Captain is fine. Well, okay, I don't know about anything. Aven Mind Sensor, for example, out of the main board would be pretty annoying, but assuming we can dodge that extremely likely scenario, I guess they could hit double Rattle Chain. Yeah, that's pretty fine, I think. Let's see, they're targeting the Spell Queller and something else. Spell Queller and one of the Wanderers. So we can hit the Wanderer and the 2 Rattle Chains and try to keep their board as clear as possible. Let's always yield to these Wanderer triggers. Not much we can do about that. And we'll let these Rattle Chains triggers go as well. Okay. So, we know that our Valakut triggers are good. We can get double Valakut, and that would be 4 triggers, and then Growth Chamber would be 2 more triggers, which is 6, which is exactly 18. So our opponent is dead to lethal, and I think we even have a second land drop this turn, so this is just elementary. Always yes, always yes, always yield. Land drop 1, and that is already lethal on the stack. Okay, going to sideboarding. Very straightforward game 1 there. I'm glad that our just slamming Karn into a potential Spell Queller didn't end up backfiring too horribly. Probably want the Ballista in the sideboard. I think we leave 1 Explosives in the sideboard for Karn purposes and bring the other 2 in. Dismember's obviously fantastic here. Reclamation Sage and Wilt seem good. Maybe Force, maybe not. I think that Aether Vial is important enough that we probably do want Force. I think the presence of Aether Vial speeds up our opponent's draws significantly. Okay, we can cut the Bog. We can trim 1 Pact in case they do have Aven Mind Sensor. We can trim and explore, maybe 2. They're a little weak to their counterspell type effects, especially on the draw. If we have to play a turn 2 explore into their Mausoleum Wander, that might be pretty unfortunate. Wouldn't be that bad, though. I don't know, though. What else? maybe another Summoner's Pact can be trimmed, as we don't really want to be tapping out for our Titan, or be tapped out the turn after we resolve a Summoner's Pact, for example. Trim some more Explorers. Trim Azusa because it is not a meaningful blocker, and we don't want multiples in our hand. Could be wrong, though. Dryad's supremely important in this matchup, however, so maybe it's fine. I don't know, maybe we don't want this Force. Maybe that's just going a little overboard. I'll trim it. And finally, let's just go down to 1 Explorer. We have the lucky 1 copy of Explorer here to do its thing. If we draw the Explorer, then we know Explorer was coming through for us. We have a turn 1 Grazer and a turn 2 Dryad. Fantastic. We have a Wilt to interact if our opponent plays an Aether Vial. So we could turn 2 Wilt if we had to. Definitely keeping this. And a Titan to go with all of the things that we have on top of that. So, in addition to some multiple untapped sources, which is fantastic. This hand's probably about as good as it can get. I suppose the only thing it's missing really is a Dismember. I think our best draw might be a second bounce land, depending on what our opponent does here. Turn 1 Noble. Alright. We were hoping that would be a turn 1 Aether Vial, but that's okay. We'll name Beast here, so we can cast this beast of a monster right here. Arboreal Grazer. OP. The Master at turn 1 Ramping. Which is better? Turn 1 Noble Hierarch or turn 1 Arboreal Grazer? Convince me. Personally, I happen to really like Noble Hierarch. I think that the Exalted is extremely undervalued on the card, personally. In case you didn't know, my absolute favorite creature of all time is actually Quasali Pridemage, the 1 green and 1 white creature that you can sacrifice to destroy an artifact or enchantment. It's a 2/2, and it has Exalted. I'll probably put a picture of it on the screen if I remember to do so. And that's possibly... or not possibly, that's partly due to the fact that it has Exalted. Just having turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Quasali, turn 3 Kitchen Finks, and then you can just start attacking with literally anything, and it's going to be bigger than what your opponent has. It's quite nice, quite nice. And here, we're obviously slamming a Dryad. Our opponent could have the Skyclave again, but I don't think we need to play around at this particular time. Maybe we throw in another Grazer. Maybe we don't. I think we probably do. Blockers for days, you know. Shame that we couldn't deal with this Drogskull the turn that it came out. Now we might have some trouble if our opponent has another Drogskull Captain. They seem pretty low on resources, though. I suppose if their last 2 cards are Land Collecting Company, then we could be in some trouble. Or like if it's like Drogskull Captain plus something else. We still need to top deck a land to be able to cast our Titan, so... here we can name Giant and still tap it for a green thanks to Dryad's ability. Play this Grazer out and pass it back. Not swinging with Grazer for the meme value, though I desperately want to. There's the land. Do we have the company? No. Just sacrificing Waterlogged Grove. I mean, at least it's a land they could cycle. Means that there's no second Drogskull this turn, though, so... if we top deck a Garenbrig... oh, should have blocked that. Oh well. If we top deck a Garenbrig, then we just have Titan. We don't. That's alright, though. Let's float with the Hanweir. Yeah, this is fine. We'll play a Rot Farm, pick up the Hanweir. Play Azusa. Play Hanweir, and this way we're still holding up a Wilt at our opponent's instep. Swing for 2. Might as well. I don't really see a way that this backfires, in all honesty. Pass it back. Blockers for days. Grazer's here to devour your soul. That's what Grazer does, in case you were wondering. It's a very powerful creature. I mean, not literally, as you can see, the power of this card is 0, but figuratively, you know what I'm saying? I might just go ahead and snap off this block here as well. I think I'm about to cycle this Wilt as well. Yep, definitely cycling. Don't see a reason not to. Getting a land off the top might help us for Valakut purposes. And, second Titan. Cool. Valakut. Now that one's quite nice. Right, we'll definitely play that one out. We'll make some mana here. We can actually haste our Titan as well by getting Crumbling Vestige and a bounce land. Got to tap for an uncounterable here to play around something like a Disdainful Stroke, which our opponent could have. Spirits has been known to play that in the past. Now if they have a path, they have to point it at this Dryad. Or they can cast a Collected Company, I guess. I don't know what this can hit them. Maybe a second Draw Skull would be annoying. But then we probably just do what we did in game 1 and just kill them with Valakut. So I guess they need to hit Skyclave Apparition for our Dryad here. In which case we can still haste our Titan, so... You know. Pick your poison, I guess. And the game ended. Alright, well, that was a easy match, I must say, against Bant Spirits. I've heard that Spirits is generally supposed to be a pretty good matchup, and kind of like a Merfolk in that vein, where the decks are aggressive, but not quite aggressive enough to close out the game before a Titan comes into play, and especially since the advent of Dryad plus Valakut and Amulet, those matchups have been very favorable for the Primeval Titan player, of course, and clearly this demonstrates that. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the match. I will see you guys for the 5th and final match, where maybe we'll claim this 4-1. Who can tell? And yeah, this is Red Face Menace, signing off.